think we should give up?
When the going gets tough and I wanna give up, I will trust in you. 'Cause you're always gonna lead, always gonna lead, always gonna lead me through. When I'm feeling overwhelmed and almost wanna quit, I will not give in. 'Cause you're giving me strength, the strength to start again. Singing, everybody, come on, let's keep going. Ooh, 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 we're never gonna give up, no. Oh, everybody, come on, let's keep moving. Yeah, ooh, 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 we're never gonna give up, no. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up. No, never gonna give up, no. When I'm feeling like I can't finish where I started, I will look to you. Jesus showed me how. Jesus showed me how to follow you. Singing, everybody, come on, let's keep going. Ooh, 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 we're never gonna give up, no. Oh, everybody, come on, let's keep moving. Yeah, ooh, 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 we're never gonna give up, no. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up, no. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up, no. Everybody, come on, let's keep going. Ooh, 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 we're never gonna give up, no. Oh, everybody, come on, let's keep moving. Yeah, ooh, 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 we're never gonna give up, no. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up, no. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up, no.
Hello, everyone! My name is Erica, and I'm here to talk to you about resilience. Resilience is getting back up when something gets you down. Whee! So, if you get knocked down in this obstacle course I call life, you can bounce back. That's why I'm bouncing here today, so I can show you that it's possible to keep on bouncing no matter what life throws at you. Wah! Still bouncing. Nothing's gonna stop me now. Ooh, ice cream truck. Okay, now nothing's gonna stop me. Oh wait, I need this for balance. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, wait, no. Whoa! Okay. No more distractions. No more mistakes. I am in it for the long haul for sure this time. Nothing's gonna keep me from bouncing. Wow. Bouncing isn't as fun as I remember it. It's like the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Let me try one foot. I give up. I can't do it. I can't do it. I guess it's harder than I thought to keep going. I just can't seem to focus on bouncing. Although, as you'll see in today's story, maybe there's something better to focus on. No. Focus. See you in a bit.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. the epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Inspired by the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verses 1 through 3.
Allie shoved her swimsuit into the bag along with the towel.
Where are my goggles?
Mom was trying to hold Allie's younger brother, Jack, as she wrestled shoes onto his feet.
Check the laundry room. You dumped your swim bag there.
Dumped your swim bag there. Dumped your swim bag there. I get it already.
Allie.
I know, Mom. It's just what Jack does. Dumped your swim bag there.
Allie bit her lip to keep from snapping back and ran to the laundry room. It was her biggest swim meet of the season, but Dad was on a business trip and Mom had snagged some big appointment for Jack with some new doctor.
Grandpa will be here in 2 minutes to pick you up. I'm putting Jack in the car.
Good luck with that.
Allie snagged her goggles and threw them in her bag. Of course, Jack was melting down again. This new doctor's appointment wasn't part of his regular routine.
No one cares about my routine.
Allie lugged her swim bag out the door to see Grandpa's beat-up Jeep behind Mom's minivan. Mom was trying to strap Jack into his seat, but he was flailing and flapping his hands.
Rex, 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 Rex.
Rex was one of Jack's gazillion toy dinosaurs. He spent hours lining them up and he could recite all of their names, pterodactyl, ichthyosaurus, and yet he couldn't manage a simple hello.
Allie, could you run back in and grab Rex? No, wait, I'll do it. I've got to lock the door.
Mom flew past Allie on her way back in and planted a kiss on her cheek.
You'll do great at the meet, sweetie. I love you.
Allie waved goodbye to Jack as she passed the van, but he wasn't paying attention. Sighing, she hopped into the Jeep beside Grandpa.
Hi, Papa.
Hi, Angelfish. All ready to swim?
I guess.
Allie's mom tore out of the house, carrying Rex, rawr, and made a beeline for the minivan, calling out to Grandpa and Allie.
Thanks so much for doing this. It all happened last minute.
Grandpa and Allie waved goodbye, and the Jeep backed out.
You doing okay?
Yeah,
Who's this fancy doctor?
I don't know. He's some autism expert, and there's usually like a 6-month wait to see him, but Mom got a call an hour ago to come.
Well, that's good for Jack, right?
Is it? I mean, he's already going to speech therapy and occupational therapy and play therapy, and I thought he was supposed to get better or something. But they did that big evaluation thing last month, and now Mom says Jack has autism. And it doesn't get better. It's just the way you are.
Well, that sure is a lot to think about. You do some good thinking while you swim, right?
I guess, but half the time Mom has to pull me out of swim practice so we can get to one of Jack's therapy sessions. And she's already said if I swim this summer, I'm gonna have to miss a bunch. Sometimes I want my brother to be different. That's awful. I'm an awful person.
No, Angelfish, you've been running a tough race.
I hate running.
All right, swimming. You've been swimming really hard, and you just found out there's no finish line.
You're not really talking about swimming, are you?
I always said you were the brightest fish in the barrel.
Papa.
I know it feels like your parents spend all their time and attention on Jack. I guess we all hope that could change, but now it looks like change is going to be more of a 10,000 meter swim instead of a 50-meter sprint.
Allie sighed and glanced up at the sparkling blue pool as they pulled into the parking lot of the Y.
I'm just tired of it. I want a brother who likes to be hugged and play games and doesn't draw attention when he comes to my swim meets. It would be easier to quit swimming.
They both stared at the neatly marked lanes in the pool.
You got a minute before you need to be out there?
Yeah, I think.
What you're facing isn't fair, but everyone's story is different. Everyone has their own 10,000 meter swim, and there's only one way to stick it out.
Extra practice?
Well, that helps for sure, but I'm thinking about the Jesus kind. Can I read you a couple of verses?
You're going to anyway.
Grandpa tapped on his phone.
Aha, Hebrews chapter 12. Let us keep on running the race marked out for us. Let us keep looking to Jesus. He is the one who started this journey of faith. and he is the one who completes it. He paid no attention to the shame of the cross. He suffered there because of the joy he was looking forward to. Then he sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. He made it through these attacks by sinners, so think about him. You won't get tired. You won't lose hope.
I never thought about all that stuff Jesus went through, like running a hard race. You think he swam too?
Didn't need to, because he could walk on water. Jesus paved the way for us. Even when we're tired and we mess up, and we know we can get back up and keep going because we're loved and forgiven no matter what.
I love swimming. I really don't want to stop.
Good. Let's get you in that pool, Angelfish.
Allie smiled and hopped out of the Jeep. She found she felt a little bit lighter. Light enough to swim extra hard. Light enough to finish her final swim of the afternoon with a personal record.
Amazing swim, Allie.
Swim, Allie, swim, Allie, swim, Allie.
Allie wiped water from her eyes to see Jack and Mom cheering near the gate. Jack wore noise-canceling headphones and cheered and jumped up and down, wildly flapping his hands. She noticed that he was looking right at her.
Swim, Allie, swim, Allie.
Allie smiled and flapped her hand right back at him. They had a long journey ahead, but you know, Allie was ready to keep going.
Sometimes life isn't easy. You can get distracted by things that don't matter. Sometimes things you don't expect make you stumble. And then there are times you make choices that just aren't wise. You want to keep going, but you can't seem to focus. That's why the writer of Hebrews wrote, "Let us keep looking to Jesus. He is the one who started this journey of faith, and he is the one who completes this journey of faith." Following Jesus can be like running an obstacle course. The goal is to obey God, to love God, and to love other people. You'll mess up along the way, you'll break the rules, you'll say and do things that aren't loving, you'll be selfish, but you can't let your mess up stop you from trying again. Remember, Jesus has already paid the price for all our sins, all our mess ups. When he died on the cross, he did that for you, because that's how much he loves you. So whenever you feel like giving up, think of Jesus. The one thing to remember today is this: keep going because of what Jesus did for you. It feels so good to be bouncing again. Nothing's gonna stop me this time. Why do I keep saying that? See you later. Whee! Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
I want to be rich. I want to be cool.
I want to be pretty.
I want to be successful.
I want to be cool. I want to be powerful.
I want to be rich.
I want to be popular.
I want to be clever.
I want to be successful.
I want to be pure.
I want to be heartbroken.
I want to be merciful.
I want to be humble.
I want to be hungry.
I want to be gentle.
I want to be a peacemaker.
I want to be persecuted.
Just be.
Hello, everybody. I am glad you're here today as we wrap up our latest series called Never Give Up. Now, the past few times we've met, we've been talking about all kinds of things as it relates to resilience. We said that resilience is our ability to bounce back and grow stronger after we have struggled, or we have failed, or we have faced difficult things in our lives. See, listen, every single one of you in this room either has, is, or will experience some sort of setback in your life. Big or small challenges are gonna come at all of us. The kind of challenges that threaten to knock us down and leave us wanting to give up. But that's exactly, people, where resilience comes in. It helps us find the strength to get up, find the strength to keep going, find the strength to never give up. It allows us to stay in the game, so to speak. And I don't know about you, but for me, resilience is definitely something I need more of in my life. Why? Because I found myself in many situations where I've just wanted to give up and give in. For example, let me grab this right here, because this, my friends, is a beautiful Christmas puzzle, okay? My daughter got this past Christmas. She said, Dad, let's do a puzzle together. You may love puzzles, you may hate puzzles. It's just a story, people, so relax, all right? So we had a little father-daughter time doing the puzzle. It was great at first, having a great time. But then you get to the point where every puzzle piece looks exactly the same. And it seems like it's exactly the same color. And after a while, I was like, you know what? Maybe we should just kind of, we tried, maybe we could push this to another date, but my daughter would not let me give up. I wanted to give up. She made me stay up late until we finished that puzzle. We're proud of it, but that's just a little example of a time in my life where I just wanted to give up. Now, you may have some stuff going in your life that's way more difficult than doing a puzzle, okay? But we all have things in our lives where we want to give up. Your challenges may look different than my challenges, but if there's one thing I think we all know, it's the feeling of wanting to give up and give in and stop trying in the face of really difficult things. When you keep failing that subject, or you get cut from that team, no matter how hard you try, when you can't seem to shake the constant anxiety you carry with you, when your best friend leaves you for another friend group, when your parents get divorced, those are the things that make us want to stop showing up, and they make us want to start giving up. And honestly, I understand why. We receive messages from culture all the time that tell us to believe that our best lives should be easy lives. And in a lot of ways, it's true. So much of life has become really, really easy. We can have pizza delivered in 30 minutes or less, sometimes a lot less. We can get an answer to a question we Google in less than a second. We can have a meal ready from the microwave in 2 minutes. We can order that totally random prop from Amazon that we need for a class presentation and have it arrive in 2 days. It's awesome, that's great, but there's a downside. Getting so used to convenience and speed and ease in every area makes the places where things aren't that easy that much harder to get through. Because resilience, people, it's like a muscle. And when we don't use it enough, it weakens. And so when something comes up that takes a lot of work, or takes us longer than we're used to, and we haven't had the practice to be resilient, it feels impossible to take on. When we really have to study to pass every test in that one class, when we need to have a difficult conversation with a friend, when we know it's time to break up with that person who isn't good for us, when we have to speak up about something difficult or something painful, when we face any setback where progress feels slow, or getting through it is difficult, and trying to face it feels like a lot of work, then it just feels easy to give up. In a lot of ways, it is easier to give up. But here's why that's not a great idea. And you already know this. There are many things that happen in this life that aren't going to be easy. Every single relationship that really matters, whether with Jesus or your parents, siblings, or friends, will at some point be difficult. Any hobby or activity or skill you want to be great at will some point be difficult. Some of us are going through things personally right now that are so much more difficult than we think we can handle. A lot of difficult things are unavoidable, and we need to have built up the resilience muscle to be able to handle those difficulties when they come our way. But more than that, as frustrating and as difficult and as painful as difficult times are, what if these difficulties were doing something in us and to us that we would otherwise miss if we weren't going through them? What if there was more to the story? Well, today I want to look at a verse from the New Testament in the Bible. I think it can help us when it comes to resilience and what having resilience in the face of difficulty can do for us. It's from a letter written by a guy who believed in and followed Jesus with his life. It's a guy named Paul. Now, Paul started out as this guy who was kind of the worst. He treated people terribly, especially Christians. But then Paul encountered Jesus and everything changed. Just like that, the mission of his life became something totally different. Now, Paul was all about sharing the hope of Jesus with others, because for Paul, that hope changed everything for him. But y'all, it wasn't easy. In fact, life for Paul was pretty challenging after that. He was disliked, he was beaten, abandoned, persecuted, and he put in prison. We're talking about some pretty major setbacks for Paul. And like any of us, when we face setbacks, Paul had a choice. Am I gonna give up, or am I going to be resilient? And Paul chose resilience. He kept going, he kept pushing, kept believing he could come back from his setbacks, not because they were easy to come back from, and not because they weren't a big deal, but because Paul had a perspective about them that carried him through them. Now listen to what he writes. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. And then later, in a letter to a church in a city called Corinth, Paul writes something similar when he says this: for our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. Here is what Paul is not saying. He's not saying resilience is about just getting over it. Resilience is about just brushing it away and moving on. Resilience is about not making such a big deal about what we're facing. No, Paul is saying, hey, we are suffering. We are experiencing trouble. Those things are real, but those things are doing something in us. Those things are working on us and through us. And who we become on the other side, this glory that will be revealed in us that Paul mentions, is better than any trouble we face. But look, if we're honest, you're honest, I'm honest, I think a lot of us would say that when it comes to difficult things, we aren't imagining who we will be on the other side. We are only thinking about what those things mean about who we are in the moment, when it feels overwhelming. In fact, we're looking at ourselves in those moments through a totally different filter. So let's think about an air conditioning filter for a second, all right? An air conditioning filter serves as a way to keep dirt and dust from entering into the air system that circulates throughout your home. I know you haven't spent a lot of time thinking about an air conditioning filter, but you're about to, because an air conditioning filter filters out the bad and it only lets in the good. Well, you and I, we all have filters in our lives as well. We have a way through which we see things, ourselves included. And this is a pretty big deal because ultimately what we see determines who we'll be. Seeing equals being. So how you see yourself in the face of difficult times has an impact on who you'll actually be in those moments. For example, if we see ourselves as defeated, right? You see that? It says defeated right here on my filter. We're more likely to be defeated. And I'll throw that one over there. If we see ourselves as weak, we're more likely to struggle having feelings of confidence and strength. You got it? That makes sense. Throw that over there. If we only see ourselves as unworthy, we're more likely to believe that we don't have what it takes, right? That makes sense. If we see ourselves as incapable, and I deal with this one a lot, we're more likely to never even try, right? But here's the good news. Knowing Jesus changes everything. And that means it can change the filter we use to see ourselves in moments of adversity. Really, it gives us a new filter. It reminds us that there is an us we are becoming in the middle of this difficulty, an us that is strong and capable and resilient. And when we keep in mind who we are becoming, we are more likely to not give up hope on us right now in the middle of the difficult thing. If we see ourselves as strong, we're more likely to be strong when adversity shows up in our lives. If we see ourselves as capable, right? We're more likely to try to take on the things that scare and frighten us. If we see ourselves as resilient, we're more likely to approach challenges in life knowing that they don't have the power to break us. Now, here's the thing. I'm not talking about just hyping yourself up with positive words. And sure, positive self-talk can be so helpful in any situation, but here, I'm talking about something more than that. I'm talking about choosing the filter that tells us what's true about who we are in God's eyes. I'm talking about choosing to see ourselves the way God sees us, about choosing to believe there is the work God is doing in you and in me, even in the middle of this difficult time, and that there is a you, there is a me on the other side of this thing that God is making us into. You know what I take all this to mean? That you mean so much to God, and I mean so much to God, that God has given us what we need to be resilient in the face of difficult situations. Not only that, God has not given up on you, But at this very moment, he's shaping the you that you can be on the other side of this. Now, for some of you, this may be all the encouragement you need to change your filter in the face of challenges. This may be the truth you can hold on to when you find yourself standing in front of a setback. But for others of you, I know this is difficult because the troubles, the challenges, the setbacks you're dealing with seem never ending. You're barely able to stay in the fight against what you're facing right now. If that's you, let me just say this. I am truly so sorry for what you're going through. I am sorry that life seems harder than it should be. Even though bouncing back from what's holding you back feels impossible, trust me when I tell you it's not. The story God is writing about you does not end with your difficulty. There is something God is doing in you, no matter how bad it feels right now, no matter how things turn out. Remember what Paul said, the suffering now won't compare to the eternal glory we'll receive later. In other words, there is a you on the other side of this, a glory, and the suffering doesn't get the last word. And that's a new filter we can use to see the challenges in front of us. Here's the good news. You don't have to master that setback this second. It may take time, but eventually it will become lighter. In some cases, you'll realize that what you thought would be a lifetime was really just a brief moment in your life. And the next time you face something like it, you'll do it knowing that you can be resilient. But in order to do that, you have to choose to never give up on you. Let me say that again. You have to choose to never give up on you. Hey, look, God won't give up on you. We won't give up on you. So you can't give up on you either. Remember, look, never give up on you. The more you get up, the more you show up, the more you choose to not give up in the face of setbacks, the stronger and more resilient you'll become. So, to help you consider how you can choose to never give up on you, let's go back to those questions we want to ask ourselves to help us grow more resilient. Number one, what is happening? What are the setbacks you're facing right now? What are the challenges that are causing you to want to give up? What difficulties in life feel heavy? What do you feel like you just cannot conquer right now? Sometimes, look, simply naming the potential setbacks that are standing in front of us makes them lose like a little bit of their power. So start by being honest. Just create a name for what's holding you back. Number two, what is true no matter what? What filter can you change to see yourself or see your setback in a different way? A way that reminds you of what's true first. Go back to the verse we read earlier and think about what Paul said. The suffering isn't the end of the story. Start with something like that. What do you need to do to remember that's true in the middle of what you're going through right now, or when you face trouble in the future? Now, question number three, what can you do? This is where resilience requires us to do something. So, in the face of your troubles right now, what can you do to keep going? Maybe it's sharing with a friend you trust about how you're struggling. Maybe it's talking to a mentor, a small group leader, or a counselor to get more help and more guidance. Maybe it's memorizing scripture that encourages you, or praying consistently for strength to get through it. Maybe it's knowing your limits and practicing self-care, doing things like taking walks and journaling and listening to music, taking a nap, whatever you can identify to help you take a step towards staying in the fight and choosing resilience. I want you to give it a shot. What can you do now? Now look, I know setbacks feel heavy, and sometimes finding the strength to keep trying is difficult. And I think that's a great place where small groups come in. Small groups are a great place to open up about what you're dealing with so that you can find the support you need from people around you, support to keep going. So will you consider sharing with your group today? Let them encourage you to never give up on you. And as you go, I want you to think about this question. What's one thing you can do to remind yourself that who you are now is not who you will be on the other side? That God is working and God is doing something in you. And as you think about that, I want you to remember, God is with you. God is doing something in you. So never give up on you.